This is your boy, your men's life coach, Rolando. Thank you for joining us here on the XY Spark podcast. This is the podcast for men, where we seek to normalize conversations about men's mental health. Because we know that mental health is not a myth. And so we seek to create safe spaces where men can come in and let us talk. We are live on YouTube right now just for you. So if you are out there and you'd like to join in our conversation, please come on in and let's talk about men's mental health. Our presentation today is going to be talking about four fears to look out for in 2025. Four fears to look out for in 2025. Fear number one is this: the fear of disapproval or criticism. And sometimes, as men, we live our lives in this mindset where we fear disapproval or criticism because we live our lives seeking to try to get approval from everyone. A man who lives his life where he's constantly trying to get approval from everyone becomes a people pleaser. Can you relate to being a people pleaser? People pleasing. You're always trying harder than everybody else in the room. You're trying to overcompensate in your relationship, overcompensate with your children, overcompensate at work, overcompensate in the community. And if you're living your life that way, it is because you are embracing this irrational thinking pattern where you fear disapproval or criticism. Fear number two is this: fear number two is the fear of rejection, where you live your life thinking that, hey, if I'm not loved and if I'm not accepted by everybody, then something is wrong. And guys, oftentimes being rejected is a good thing for you. Why is it a good thing for you? Because it means that you may need to take a step back and take some time to be brutally honest with yourself and look at, hey, if something is not going well with the way I think or the way I look or the way I act, it means it's time for me to buckle down. It's time for you to buckle down and do some work as it relates to your personal development and your personal growth. So, oftentimes, rejection is something that is necessary, that needs to happen to many of us or most of us as men, so we can take a deeper look at what I need to be doing differently so I can heal and I can grow and I can become better. Guys, here's the reality: nobody wants to have anybody around who is not sure of themselves, who doesn't know where they're going. Nobody wants to have anybody around who is toxic, who is constantly complaining, whose body language and facial expression, is saying, hey, I don't want to be here, I'm not friendly, I'm not welcoming. So, guys, look at the reality. Sometimes this fear of rejection is because we ourselves, we're not showing up. We are not showing up in our best selves. We're not showing up being confident. We're not showing up adding value to those with whom we interact. But we want people to just accept us just the way we are, even though we know that something needs to change. So, this fear of rejection is something that we have got to seek to work on. Don't expect the world to accept you in a mediocre way. If you're mediocre, if you're not working on yourself, if you're not showing up in your best self, then you're setting yourself up sometimes too to be rejected. But the rejection should be used as your ticket where you get insight about what you need to do differently to heal so you can grow. Sometimes, guys, being rejected is more of a blessing for you than a curse because it helps you to introspect, to reflect, and to look at what you need to do differently in order to get better. The third fear is the fear of being alone. So many times as men, we are in that space where we fear being alone because we believe, hey, if I'm alone, I'm miserable. I will never be happy. So that means you are depending on somebody else's presence in your life to make you happy. And that is an irrational way of thinking. If you're not happy, and you're depending on someone else to make you happy, then that means you need to do some work to heal emotionally and psychologically so that you can be happy and you can learn how to enjoy your own company. You can learn how to embrace quietude. You can learn how to connect with yourself. You can get to know yourself. So if you fear being alone, then you have got to ask yourself this question: why do I fear being alone so much? And sometimes I hear guys say, well, hey, when I'm alone, my brain races. I'm hearing, all these things I'm doing unhealthy stuff. So if you fear being alone because you need someone in your life to parent you, that means you need to grow up. That means he needs to move past that. So you've got to ask yourself, how will being a part of somebody's life, how will I bring value to their life? And how will they bring value to my life? Because the truth of the matter is, if you're not well, if you're not healthy, if you're not grounded, if you're not making healthy lifestyle choices, are you really ready to invite somebody else to be a part of your life when you need healing yourself? Just think about that a little bit and let that sink in. So, this fear that you have of being alone, do you just fear, do you just crave companionship? Do you just crave intimacy? Does a relationship require more than intimacy to be healthy? Big fear number four is this, is the fear of failure. Fear of failure. Do you find yourself in that space where here I fear failure? Sometimes this fear of failure can become a detrimental space to be stuck in. Why? Because sometimes, because we fear failure, we don't even try. You want to run a 10K, why not go for it? You want to run a 5K, go for it. You want to get a personal coach, go for it. You want to go back to school? Go for it. Never ever tell yourself that you can't do something when you've never even tried it. Never ever tell yourself that, hey, I tried it already, so why go back? When you look at all the great names that we hear persons mentioning over and over again, and we listen to their stories, right? The kernels of the KFCs, the creators of the WD-40, the creator of the light bulb, the story goes on and on. All these great names, celebrities like Denzel Washington shares his story where he started. All these great names, if they feared failure, their names wouldn't be mentioned over and over again today. If you fear failure and you're not facing that fear, and you're not shifting that fear and act upon your potential, or act upon your faith in your ability to get through it, then this fear is going to keep you stagnant. It's going to keep you stuck. It's going to prevent you from reaching your true potential. So, these four fears, I want you to challenge yourself in 2025 and beyond, recognizing that, hey, if I feed this fear, then I'm not going to experience or see my true potential. But if I face this fear, I'll be able to see my true potential, and I'll evolve and grow into becoming the best version of myself. This is your boy, your men's life coach, Rolando. Thank you for joining us for this live podcast where we seek to normalize conversations about men's mental health. Remember, guys, mental health is not a myth. If you'd like to hear more of our podcast, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, or you can follow us on Instagram, on TikTok, or you can even join us live every weekday morning at 5:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, where we continue to have more conversations like these about men's mental health. In the meantime, guys, this is your boy, your men's life coach, Rolando. You do have a great day. And remember that at XY Spark, we believe that there is a spark in you, and we will see you again next time. Have a great day.